I want to start by saying I am not someone who gets rattled easily. I drove long haul for 2 summers during college, covering routes from Ohio to Nevada. Empty highways at night became as normal to me as a grocery store parking lot. So when I tell you what happened on my drive back from my cousin's wedding in Omaha last October, please understand, I don't scare easy. And I was terrified. It was around 2:40 in the morning, somewhere past mile marker 318 on I-80. The sky was the kind of black that makes the horizon invisible. I had maybe a quarter tank left, but my GPS showed a rest area 11 miles ahead, and I figured I'd top off my coffee from the thermos, use the bathroom, and push through to Denver without stopping again. The rest area appeared out of the dark like a ghost. A row of dim yellow lights over a concrete building, 2 picnic tables, and a row of vending machines on the far wall. There was one other vehicle in the lot, a white cargo van. No logo, no plates I could see clearly, engine idling. The driver's side window was fogged over from the inside. I parked as far from it as I could without being in the grass. Went to the bathroom fast, fed $1 into the vending machine for a water bottle, and walked back to my car with my keys already in my hand, something a woman who works in my office always says to do. I had my car door open in under 10 seconds. I pulled out of the rest area without looking back at the van. 3 minutes later, my rearview mirror lit up with headlights, high beams, close. At first, I thought nothing of it. People leave rest areas. People drive at night. But then the headlights got closer. At 75 miles per hour, they were maybe 30 feet behind my bumper, then 20. I tapped my brakes once, a warning flash, and the van surged forward and tapped my actual bumper, hard enough that my head snapped back. My mouth went completely dry. I pressed the gas down. 80, 85. The van matched me exactly, like we were roped together. Then it swung into the left lane and began drifting over toward my side of the road, forcing me toward the shoulder. There was nothing but black fields and guardrail out there. No exits, no lights, just flat Nebraska nothing for miles in every direction. I did something I had never done before in my life. I laid on my horn continuously, one long scream of sound, and floored it to 92 miles per hour. The van fell back maybe 100 yards. Then it started gaining again. My GPS showed a truck stop with a diner, open 24 hours at the next exit, 4.7 miles ahead. I focused on that number like it was the only real thing in the world. 4.7, 3.9, 3.1. The whole time, headlights in my mirror. I took the exit without slowing down and drove directly into the brightest section of the truck stop lot, right under a floodlight, and leaned on my horn again in short blasts. A trucker, outside by his rig, looked over. I jumped out of my car, waving my arms, pointing behind me, and the man walked toward me immediately, calm as anything, and just said, "What's going on, hon?" The van had pulled to the very edge of the exit ramp. It sat there for almost a full minute, engine running, before it slowly reversed back up the ramp and disappeared onto the highway. The trucker walked me inside. I sat at the counter for 2 hours drinking bad coffee until it got light enough outside that I felt okay to drive again. I never got the plates. I never saw who was driving. I just know that whatever they wanted from me that night, they planned it from the moment they watched me walk back to my car in that rest area. I don't stop at rest areas alone at night anymore. I don't think I ever will again. My buddy Jake always says I'm too trusting for my own good. He says it like it's a flaw. After what happened on US 380 in New Mexico 2 years ago, I think he might be right. I was driving home to Albuquerque from a hiking trip near Roswell, solo because I'd planned it as a solo trip, which looking back was its own kind of mistake. It was just past 1 a.m. when my headlights picked up a pair of orange hazard blinkers maybe half a mile ahead on the right shoulder. As I got closer, I could see a dark sedan pulled onto the gravel and a woman standing beside it, one arm raised above her head, phone in her hand pointed at the sky like she was trying to find a signal. I slowed down to about 15 miles per hour as I passed her. She looked at my car, made eye contact, and started walking toward the road, mouthing something. She was young, maybe late 20s. She looked genuinely scared. There was nothing out here, no houses, no gas stations, no cell signal that I had found for the past 40 miles. I pulled over about 20 yards ahead of her car and watched in my driver's side mirror as she jogged toward me. Part of my brain, the part Jake always says is too quiet, told me something was wrong. The way she'd been standing was too still for someone who'd been stranded for any length of time. She hadn't been pacing, hadn't been looking down the road. She'd been watching. She knocked on my passenger window. I cracked it 2 inches and asked if she was okay. "Please, I just need to get to the gas station. My phone is dead. I've been out here over an hour." And then I saw it. In my rearview mirror, a shape detached from the darkness behind her car. A man walking fast toward my driver's side door, something long and dark held low in his right hand. A pipe or a bat, I couldn't tell. And to my left, I caught motion in my peripheral vision, a second figure stepping out from the scrub brush on the side of the road ahead of me, moving to block my path. My body acted before my brain could finish processing. I dropped the car into drive and punched the gas so hard the tires kicked gravel up into the wheel wells like gunshots. The woman at my window screamed something. The figure ahead dove sideways as my car surged past. I felt the side mirror clip something, probably his arm or shoulder. I didn't look back. I drove at over 90 miles per hour on a desert road I didn't know, in the dark, for almost 15 minutes before my hands stopped shaking enough to ease off the accelerator. Here is what I have thought about almost every day since. There were 3 of them. They had positioned themselves to cover every angle. The woman to get me to stop and lower my guard, the man with the weapon coming from behind to deal with the driver, the third to block forward escape. That is not a spontaneous crime. That is something someone planned and practiced. The disabled car, the lone woman, the remote location, all of it was a stage, and I was supposed to be the last actor they needed. I reported it to the New Mexico State Police when I got to a gas station with service. The officer I spoke to didn't sound surprised. He just asked me to describe the vehicle and the people, told me I'd done the right thing by not opening the door, and said he'd send a unit to check the area. I never heard a follow-up. I don't know if they found anyone. What I do know is this: if you are driving alone at night and you see a stranded vehicle on an isolated road, call 911 and keep driving. Call Highway Patrol, call a tow company's emergency line, call anyone, but do it from inside your moving vehicle with your doors locked. You can be a good person without putting yourself in a position where good intentions get you killed. I think about that woman's face when I hit the gas. She wasn't frightened, she wasn't confused, she was angry. The mask came off in that 1 second and I saw exactly what I had almost walked into. I think about that look a lot. I grew up in a small town, so I am not one of those people who feels uneasy around rural areas. I know the difference between people who are unfriendly and people who are actually dangerous. Or I thought I did, until the night I stopped for gas in a place I will not name, but that sits on Route 70 in Tennessee, about 20 miles east of nowhere. It was close to midnight when I turned into the gas station, a single-pump operation with one buzzing fluorescent light over the door and a hand-painted sign for night crawlers and lottery tickets in the window. My GPS had been rerouting me for 20 minutes due to construction on the interstate, and my tank was sitting at under an eighth. I didn't have a choice. There were 2 men sitting on folding chairs outside the entrance, and they stopped talking the moment I pulled in. They watched me get out of the car. They watched me run my card at the pump. They watched me the entire time without speaking or looking away. The kind of watching that has nothing to do with curiosity and everything to do with sizing something up. The gas station attendant inside was a teenager who barely acknowledged me, which I was grateful for. I bought a bag of pretzels I didn't want just to have a reason to be near another human being for an extra 90 seconds, then walked back to my car. The 2 men outside were still watching. One of them had stood up. I got in, locked the doors, and pulled back onto Route 70 heading east. I told myself I was being paranoid. Cities make people jumpy. Rural doesn't mean dangerous. I turned the radio up. About 3 miles down the road, my front left tire detonated. That is the only word for it. A sound like a rifle shot, and then the car was pulling hard left, and I was fighting the wheel with both hands, decelerating on a pitch-black 2-lane road with trees pressing in close on both sides. I got the car stopped half on the shoulder, engine still running, hazards on. I got out to look at the tire and immediately saw what had happened. The rubber was shredded, not flat. The The kind of catastrophic blowout you get from running over something with an edge. I swept my phone's flashlight over the road behind me. About 20 feet back, there was a strip of wood with nails driven through it, angled so they would lie flat in one direction and spike up when a tire ran over them going the other way. Someone had placed it there deliberately, someone who knew which direction traffic would be coming from. My phone showed 0 bars. I stood there for maybe 4 seconds before I heard it, the sound of an engine coming from the direction of the gas station. Slow, no headlights. I did not wait to see the vehicle. I grabbed my phone, my keys, and my jacket from the back seat and walked straight into the tree line on the south side of the road, moving as fast as I could without running, keeping low. Behind me, I heard the vehicle stop. I heard a door, then another door, then voices, low, not calling out, just talking to each other in the conversational tone of people who were used to doing things at night. I heard one of them try my car door handle. I was maybe 40 yards into the woods at that point, crouching behind a fallen pine, not moving. My heart was beating so hard I was genuinely concerned they might hear it. Through the trees, I could see the blue pulse of my hazard lights. I watched 2 silhouettes move around my car. One of them had a flashlight, sweeping it toward the tree line. I flattened myself against the ground and did not breathe. After what felt like 20 minutes, but was probably 5, I heard the doors again, the engine, and then they left. I stayed in those woods for an hour and 15 minutes before I started walking east along the road's edge, in the dark, until my phone picked up a single bar of signal, and I called 911. The sheriff's deputy who responded was polite and professional. He confirmed that the nail strip was still in the road when he arrived. He said they'd had similar reports from that stretch of highway before. He said it like that was a normal sentence. My car got towed. I rode to the nearest town in the back of a sheriff's cruiser with a Mylar blanket around my shoulders like some kind of accident victim, which I suppose I was. I flew home the next day. I still don't know what those men planned to do if they'd found me. I just know the nail strip wasn't an accident, and they came for me less than 4 minutes after my tire blew. They were ready. They had done this before. Some gas stations, you just have to run on empty.